When the Francesa. I think he thought Houston too because the Knicks blew Game 6. Steve, if you remember correctly, they blew Game 6. Okay, they did blow Game 6. They did because they had them in Game 6. And they didn't close. Well, my point to you is this. The Knicks were right there. Ewing was on the court. You had two opportunities to close, and you did it. Jalen Brunson delivers a chip to New York City, and you think he gets to defer to Ewing? Please, you got to sit down. Sit down. It's nothing to discuss. The only person debatable is Clyde Frazier, and even that ain't gonna do it.
Okay, Wendy, go ahead.
Just remember, if he wins the championship, he'll either beat Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the best player in the NBA right now, back-to-back, or he'll be Victor Wembanyama, but the chance one of the greatest of all time. Don't forget that, because he's got to overcome that, and that would be part of the resume. That's what I said. That was the start of my argument. He beats them, please.
Even the series with the Thunder last night dominated really from the opening tip. The first 7.5 minutes, Wendy single-handedly outscored the 11-8. He also hit a half-court shot as expired in the first half. The Spurs were on one and beat Oklahoma City by 21 points. So now these two have kind of gone back and forth a little bit. Who do you think has the edge right now? Is it OKC or is it the Spurs, Stephen A?
Well, I'm going to say it's the Spurs simply because of the injuries to OKC. I'll give the OKC Thunder an edge from the standpoint that they're going home for Game 5. But they lost Game 4, and I'm concerned about these injuries. If it were not for the injuries and a potentially depleted backcourt, I wouldn't feel that way. But against San Antonio, you need your ball handlers. It can't just be about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You need a bevy of dudes that you can put on the basketball court that can handle pressure from the backcourt of the San Antonio Spurs. You need to be able to do that. And if that's not the case, it's not to say that Oklahoma City can't win, but it's going to be a bit more difficult, far more arduous. And I think that's what we have to pay attention to. Again, they're going back to Oklahoma City. So again, it may not be a disadvantage at all because that home crowd might galvanize the troops. And we all know that role players play better at home than they do on the road. But nevertheless, San Antonio did win Game 4. And on top of it all, they've got two of their primary ball handlers back in the lineup in De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper. And OKC seems to be really in the health department. That would be
Excellent point. I don't really have much to add. I think Steve hit it right on the head. I am worried about those two injuries, but I too think OKC has the edge. I'm also going to go market correction. 6 for 33 from 3 in Game 4. The Thunder were. And a lot of open shots. You're going to make some of those now next time. This is the Kenny Atkinson data nonsense. You're going to make a few. I mean, it's just the way it is. You don't make them one day, and the next game they go in. So I think that will help them too. Stevie and I have been on the same page, so is Brian. Everybody has been on the same page. Long series, great series, 3 games to go. I think we're going to be sitting there Saturday night at 10 o'clock, fourth quarter, anybody's game. And I'll take OKC, but I'll stick with that premise.
Okay, so who wins Game 5 then? Who do you think has the edge in Game 5 as this series goes back over?
regardless of what I just said, I'm still going with OKC. I know that y'all expect this a little bit because of what I said, but I'm telling you that I think that they've got the heart and savvy force of a champion on their home court, having covered games there, to see that crowd and the kind of effect it could have. Even though San Antonio did win Game 1 of this series, I think as the series wanes, you have to go to Oklahoma City. It has a detrimental effect on those teams, and I think it will against San Antonio in Game 5.
I agree. I think OKC wins Game 5. Spurs win Game 6. You don't want to lose 2 in a row in a series. The Spurs already have done that. Now OKC doesn't want to have to lose 2 in a row. But I like their medal. I'll take Thunder tomorrow night.
Once he gets inside, his layup is good. Mitch's shooting is just unbelievable. And when it's red hot, they have been an offensive juggernaut. Sloppy turnovers. Oh, what a pass from Anunoby and Bridges with the play. Now are beating themselves. With help from the Knicks, make no mistake. Brunson fakes, drives, gets inside, landing, banks it home, and this is the largest lead of the game. They're shooting the ball so well across the board that it can be demoralizing for the other team. The Knicks are now 1 win away from their first finals appearance in 27 years.
All right, so good day for the Knicks, bad day for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Stephen A. sounded off on social media too that this is a disgraceful late-game show of effort by the Cavs. Hate to say it, because I'm a Knicks fan, but it's just the truth. When you see this franchise split like it just did, it needs someone who cares a bit more, someone proudly accountable to Cleveland. Yes, I'm saying if they need LeBron James to return home to save the day, if this group is ever going to bring a title back to Cleveland, seriously, I'm allowed to say that all day long. If the Cavs get swept, and they could potentially tonight, should they go all in on bringing the king to Cleveland?
No, absolutely not. And I don't think you go back anyway. Why would you go back to a place where you've already won a championship, the great championship that they've ever had after the 64 Browns? Why would you run back there and go and do that again? You get nothing to gain. And if you don't win a championship, you're gonna put a blemish on a championship you did win, because you're gonna be the lasting memory of the Cavs fan as well. You broke LeBron back, but he didn't win. You don't want that. Why would LeBron want that? That's the dumbest thing in the world. Why would you go back to a place where you won and you've gone somewhere else and won, and then go back and try to win again? See, you've already done that. Why decide to go back and do it again? I don't know. I wouldn't do that under any circumstances. I'm surprised Stevie's take on that. I'll let him fight me over in a minute, same with Windy. But, and I also don't buy the idea that all of a sudden the Cavs, lay down like dogs there on in game 3. Let's take it easy. I mean, the Knicks made every shot. Cavs were demoralized after game 1. You knew they were in big trouble. They played fairly decently in game 2. They're human. I'm not going to go too crazy because, in the fourth quarter, they were down 17, 18 points. They lost a sort of a very comfortable 12 points. I didn't get that impression that they quit. So from that standpoint, I disagree with them both on those takes. LeBron's never going back to Cleveland. That's not happening. And I don't think that the Cavs, you can kill them for the outcome of what the final score was in game 3.
In the last 2 minutes, though, they were just kind of looking at.
Well, I don't think that. I mean, some of the Lakers in game 1 against the Celtics at Memorial Day in Aspen lost by 100 points back in '85. I mean, it happens. These guys are players. I mean, the game is over. I can't get crazy.
Windy, should the Cavs go all in on LeBron?
Okay, Stephen A. and Matt are talking about the live, and I'm not saying the live is wrong, but I think I just want to bring a little bit of analysis, because this applies not just to a Cavs concept, but if there's a Warriors or the Heat or whomever else has some dream of getting LeBron this summer, I think you have to understand the 4 corners of what's going on. These teams like Cleveland or Golden State or somebody else, they don't have cap space to give LeBron real money, okay? This is not like Aaron Rodgers, where he can wait 6 months and then the Steelers can still sign him for $25 million. That's not how it works. First, LeBron has got to decide, does he want to keep playing? Okay, let's say he does. Now, if you want to keep playing for the Lakers, let's say he does. Can the Lakers and LeBron work out an arrangement? Let's say they can't. We've already gone through 3 big, giant questions there, okay? How much money is LeBron willing to play for? I am not going to spend the gentleman's money and just make an assumption that the Cavs can sign him for $3 million, because guys, that's what the minimum is. LeBron's making $50 million this year. If he were to sign with the Cavs next year, they got $3 million. That's what they're allowed to pay him, okay? 3. That's a 90% pay cut. I just don't think he's doing it. Now, if he comes out and says, Ryan, don't go in my head. You don't know what you're talking about. I will sign for that. If he says that, then I'm prepared to have a conversation. But when you say all in, Stephen A., it means trading off potentially 3 players. Because even if they worked out a deal with the Lakers, even if the Lakers said, look, LeBron, you want to go to Cleveland? We'll work out a sign and trade. The Cavs aren't even allowed to do sign and trades. So they would have to trade off multiple pieces just to trade another piece for LeBron. So it's very hard to have this argument unless you have an idea of what LeBron's willing to do. And I know that that's not fun. It's more fun to say, go get LeBron James. But it's hard for me to frame it right now, to be honest.
Sometimes we make things far more complicated. Wendy, I appreciate your analysis. Covering the NBA better than LeBron James. That is what I think. And look at the words that I used on the tweet. I talked about somebody who loves Cleveland. Somebody who the people would believe would be accountable to them because he loves them that much. That's what I'm alluding to. Look at my words. You know, see, need someone who cares a bit more. Someone proudly accountable to Cleveland. That's what I was talking about. Who better than your own that grew up 30 minutes away, that came back from South Beach? I'm talking about that guy. And what I'm saying to you is this. Of course, the contenders like Cleveland don't have the money to pay LeBron James the 50 plus million. Didn't we hear Wendy folks talking about how, you know what, at this point in time, even though he's not the kind of person that you ever imagine taking less, he certainly doesn't deserve less, etc. He's a billionaire, and really, it's about so much more than that. Well, let's take into account and look at LeBron James' career. He's a Los Angeles Laker. You know what we hear all the time? Yeah, he's great. You hear it from me and others about he's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. You know what you also hear, fellas? He ain't Magic. He ain't Kobe. He ain't Kareem. He's not worthy. He's not even. What is that? Okay? Right. You'll never hear that in Cleveland. He is Cleveland. You talk about a dude that's got 4 championships. He's in the Western Conference. A fifth ain't coming. You seen OKC. We watching him in San Antonio right now. How about Minnesota? How about Denver? How about Houston once Fred VanVleet comes back? Lakers ain't winning. But if you went back to the East, and let's just say, for example, you got your billion, and Wendy, don't get me started on the money he could make off the court, not just because of the global iconic figure that he is, but also, I'm quite sure the Cleveland area would come up with a way to make sure some money was in his pocket, additional dollars. Oh, trust me, he'd get every advertisement he wanted, okay? Then you're in the Eastern Conference. You don't have to move Mobley. You don't have to move Allen. You don't have to move Donovan Mitchell. You probably wouldn't have to move James Harden or anything like that. And you join that squad in the Eastern Conference for a swan song that you don't want to end in April. You want to make a run for a 5th ring that could potentially tie Kobe and Duncan and eclipse the 4 that Steph Curry has. Who knows? I'm saying if you're Cleveland, that's what you want. Then say that LeBron should necessarily want that. LeBron has earned the right to do what the hell he wants to do. He's one of the greatest ever, and he's won in 3 separate locations. We can't tell him anything. But if you're Cleveland, and you're in the mood to beg, and grovel, all right, this would be a direction that you could go in and a tactic that you should use to sell him on end it at home. Because we love you. We deified you. You are everything to us. And all of this speculation and the things that they say about you and how they try to downplay what you've done, blah, you don't have to worry about that here. Yes, that could potentially be a cry that they could, or a plea that they could throw in LeBron James' direction. That's all I was saying. Not that LeBron should necessarily do it, but that they should desperately want it.
Knowing how, I mean, nothing against Dean Wade and Max Strus. They've had good moments in the playoffs, but obviously a 3-man. LeBron's probably the best small forward ever. It does.
How about leadership?
And if any team, without question, and, you can take off many games in the regular season, and any team in professional basketball who can have LeBron James on a discount, even if they did some maneuver to get him more than the minimum and were able to get a little bit more, anything less, he's still a $50 million player. Even if they got 25, it would be an incredible discount for his talent. There's no doubt they could have. I'm just saying, I am seeing people lay out scenarios for LeBron that make an assumption that money is nothing. He's probably got to take a pay cut. I don't think the Lakers are paying him $50 million again. We can debate about whether that should happen, about the respect level and how they're going to have their own problems replacing the team moves on. But I don't think the Lakers are going to pay him. He's going to have to pay the pay. I'm not going to pay him money. I'm just saying, I see people laying out scenarios out there, just making assumptions when it's much more complicated than, he'll just resign. He'll just sign someone.
Wendy, can I ask you a question?
But it's not a matter of the competition. It's not a matter of the competition. I mean, we understand what teams can't do financially, but we also know that he's in a financial situation to be able to do what he wants because it's not going to affect him one way or another because he already has.
And if he says that, I'll agree with you, but I haven't heard him say that.
And I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying he will. I'm saying if you're Cleveland, the argument that you're making is that this is it for you. What better place for you to be than here, where you are absolutely loved and deified, and on top of it all, we're in the Eastern Conference, so there's a damn good chance that in your swan song, in your sayonara, you are making a championship run. If I'm Cleveland, that's the argument I'm making. That's all.
Stephen A., I would name the street that they did the parade down for him this afternoon. I would announce the unveiling of the statue for an opening night. I would name the plaza in between the baseball stadium and the arena for him. I would offer all of those things, but I can't agree to say the guy should take a $40 million pay cut until he says that.
Okay. We'll see what the offseason brings. My question, I'll ask in the break. Knicks, one win away from punching their ticket to the finals for the first time in 27 years. The Cavaliers find themselves in uncharted waters. They're down 3-0 in the series, something no team has ever come back from, as everyone pretty much knows. We've said it a million times. Now, the Knicks beat the Cavs 121-108 in Game 3. They've won 10 straight playoff games, but Cavs, can you ask this? That doesn't matter.
Analytically, when we expect, I said 3 out of 3, and we're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. It's an expected score, and we won 2 out of 3. And I know you're looking confused, but there is really, if you believe in process and all that, but take that later. Us shooting way below expected, and shooting way over. And I know no one wants to hear that. I think you guys like hearing that. I know, general public, no one wants to hear that. Everyone's outcome based. Sure, I get that too.
Analytically, they won 2 out of 3. They won 2 out of 3 of the expected score. We heard it. I don't know if anyone wanted to hear it, like you said, but we heard it. Even in your reaction to it.
That moment right there is why Kenny Atkinson deserves to be in the system. Right there. Now, obviously, I'm being somewhat facetious because the man led Cleveland to the #1 seed last year. Doggy has pointed out how he was a damn good coach in Brooklyn and how Kyrie and KD should have never won a season. Even though they underachieved last year in the playoffs, here they are this year. But for any coach to have that come out of it, it's egregious. And if you remember, though, you may not remember. I'm sure Wendy does. I have it on very, very good authority that it was a moment like that when Daryl Morey, they lose a playoff game, Golden State, and he walks up to Tillman Fertitta, and he's talking, the owner for the Houston Rockets. And he, after explaining some of the things that analytically was going on, he sees, so you see, we really, really want. They're local players. He said, you see, we really, really want. See, that's the kind of nonsense that has invaded the sport. We are, and this notion to the world of analytics, to all the analytic geeks out there and stuff like that. Let me be very, very clear, Wendy. They are not to be disrespected. Numbers do matter. They play a significant role. Coaches and teams and executives do lean on it, as well they should. But looking at Wendy and Doggy, what's important to be said, let's stop acting acting like this is new. Pat Riley was using analytics in the 80s and the 90s. He would tell you that. It's not new. The use of it. Its use. What's new is the focus that has been placed on it in terms of justification for hiring certain dudes to run your franchise. Because they speak a language as it pertains to numbers and data and stats, etc., that makes the owners feel like they grasp an understanding of it because that's their lane. And so you hire people who are somewhat like-minded, that speak your lingo, that's essentially an extension of you, and you get them to run your organization. And you weed out brilliant basketball minds who pay attention to eye tests, instincts, and actual results that really, really matter in the grand scheme of things. People like him give you the impression, meaning Coach Atkinson, to a stronger degree of Daryl Morey. Whether you like it or not, here's the problem. They give you the impression that as long as the numbers say something, they're good. You are down 3-0 in a conference final. You walked in 4 games away from a championship appearance. And now you're on the verge of getting swept. And what comes out of your mouth is that we really did well the 2 out of the 3 games. Analytically, see, that's the kind of stuff that if you certain owners, not every owner, but certain owners out there, whether you know I'm telling the truth, and Doggy, if you're honest about it, you know the coaches you've spoken to. You know I'm telling the truth. An owner out there, not all, but there's some out there that would have the pink slip ready for him the second they lose tonight. Just because of stuff like that. You can't say that. You just can't.
So in this series, you remember after game 2, Josh Hart had this amazing game, shot the beautiful shot. He was left open by the Cavs, and then he shot him out. He quoted Jay Wright, his coach at Villanova. He said that analytics like a lamppost. You can lean on it when you're drunk, but it can't get you home. And then you've got Kenny Atkinson, and he was answering a question, just for full context. He was answering a question about why the Cavs had hope in this series. He was saying, well, because of this. And this is the thing about analytics, and this is what Jay Wright and Josh Hart are talking about. You can't build in the fact that the Cavs have dead legs. It's not going to show up on the stat sheet. Like, they can look at the stat sheet and say, boy, our 82 game, averages versus these averages, and our open shots, we should be much better. But the Cavs played 14 games in the first 2 rounds, and the Knicks played 10